Hello and welcome to the pre-retreat masterclass of Abuja Real Estate Retreat 2026. In other words, Abuja Real Estate Retreat is holding in 2026, January 30th and 31st. All right, January 30th and 31st in 2026. However, to make sure that we give you premium value, give you excess value for the money that you'll be paying for the Abuja Real Estate Retreat, we're putting together important classes that will help you to be able to maximize this season that we are, while you further prepare for 2026. And then during the course of the retreat, the 2-day retreat, we'll also be having an amazing, explosive, and impactful time. So this is in addition to all of the values that we're going to be giving to you at the retreat. So as you're joining, please let me know where you are joining in from. Lagos, Port Harcourt, Enugu. Basically, let me know in the comment section where you are joining from. And of course, if you can hear me loud and clear, also let me know in the comment section. All right. In other words, let me know your name and where you are joining from. If you're watching the replay of this particular video, also let me know, let us know in the comment section. This is brought to you by Fortune Real Estate Academy, and Abuja Real Estate Retreat is an annual event and we hold it every year, and we're preparing for the one of January 2026. And as part of our additional value, we're having these important classes. And the essence of the November and December class is to make sure, in other words, we're having a class in November, having another one in December, and then having a third one in January before the 2-day retreat. And then this first one is open to the general public. However, the second one, which will be in December, likely first week of December, that will be only for those who have gotten their ticket for the retreat. All right. Again, this first class, day one, is free for everybody. However, the second class, that's the day two of the class, which will be in December, and then the January one, all of those ones will only be for those who have paid and registered for the Abuja Real Estate Retreat. Whether you paid for the executive ticket or the Empire ticket, regardless, you have access to the classes. So for our November and December class, we're going to be looking at a very important subject matter that helps you to maximize the season. Now, a lot of persons usually save money, especially if you sell to those in the diaspora, or whether you know that you are selling to them or not. If you sell anything real estate to people, this is the season to maximize. In fact, if you sell anything generally, right, this is the right season for you to be able to maximize sales. In other words, October, November, late November, December, early January, towards the end of January, it's a season where a lot of diasporans come to Nigeria, and then they are able to spend the money, buy a lot of stuff. So a lot of money is going to be flying around in this season, and you must make sure you grab your portion as quickly as possible, because that also helps you to end the year well and start the next year well. So for the November and December class, we're going to be looking at how you'll be able to maximize the season and every lead that comes your way for back-to-back sales. And for us to achieve that, we're going to be looking at understanding touch points, how touch points are critical to making closing fast. We're also going to be looking at how to use psychography to close faster. Also, why most salespeople struggle to close. And I mentioned that we're also going to be looking at the 11 touch points that make deals close faster once the client or the lead is capable. We're also going to be having a practical session on sales calls, as well as practical session on how to close. These are the things we're going to be looking at in our November and December class. And of course, as I mentioned, as you're joining, please let us know where you are joining it from, your name and your location. And of course, if you have registered for the Abuja Real Estate Retreat, and then if not, let us know that you will be in the room. So let's get right into the conversation. So first, I need you to understand that for you to sell to anybody, you must first of all understand the person. All right. We're going to get to the point where I lay emphasis on psychography. However, one of the reasons why people buy fast or delay before they buy is the fact that there is a human behavior around everything sales, right? People naturally don't want to buy. The reason they naturally don't want to buy is because the result of buying equals a debit alert, right? And the average individual doesn't want a debit alert. However, for anybody to decide to be okay with a debit alert, he or she must get something in return that satisfies and justifies that debit alert. This is powerful. Please, as I'm dropping the points on the file, let me know in the comment section. So, you need to understand the psychology around sales. When you understand it, you know how to make a client or make somebody, having understood the person, to be able to transfer that money, which of course is a debit alert. Now, part of the problem, particularly for those in real estate, is the fact that the debit alert that real estate brings is huge. So it comes with the consequence of the fact that that debit alert is going to shake the guy's account. I mean, for the average person. Right now in Abuja, where we are, our list product is for 4.5 million naira. Right? And when you're coming into FCD properties within the FCT, our list product right now is for 7 million naira. So it means that 7 million naira is naturally not what that guy earns. That 7 million naira, the person has to have more than that. And likely the 7 million naira should be a savings or something that he pays across a period of time. In other words, via installment. So before this guy will let go of that 7 million naira, you must be giving something else in return that is very tangible. I don't want to use the word unfortunately, but the actual word is unfortunately. For those of you or us who sell high ticket products like real estate, the guy doesn't go home with the land. He doesn't carry it on his head when he's going home. So there is nobody who is going to, in fact, let me give you the flip side of the conversation. So if this guy, it is better, it is easier, it is smoother, it is better for the guy to have a debit alert because of a car. Why? The guy would make a debit, right? Transfers the money to the car dealer and then goes home with the car. In fact, the moment the guy is entering the car, he's feeling comfortable, he's feeling nice, he's feeling like he has made it. The moment he drives into the compound, everybody is hailing him. And let me be very honest with you, it is natural and human. I remember the day that I announced to my staff, people who are into real estate, that we just launched our first estate development project. They were not as excited as the day I brought this phone to the office. This one. This phone is barely $1,000. See, look at the phone. The property I was talking about is multiple times higher by every standard, way more expensive than this phone. But the natural human behavior, we are wired in a certain way. I mean, the natural average human is wired in a certain way. In other words, if I was to go by the feeling of the satisfaction of making a debit alert, right, or doing something that gave me a debit alert, I received more satisfaction by buying this phone of less than $1,000. I mean, about $1,000, right? Than the satisfaction I got from announcing to my staff that we had announced or we had launched or we just paid for our first estate development project. I'm talking about several millions. So it tells you why the behavior of many is to impress. I am going somewhere. Please follow me and let me know if you are getting the point in the comment section. So what it means by implication is that You must know what is satisfactory to whoever is making that debit alert for the sales to happen. That is why, or that is what naturally at some point I will refer to as the pain point. I don't know why I'm circling everything today. Okay. Are you following me? Please let me know in the comment section. So there has to be, naturally, every purchase leads to a debit alert. And of course, on the other side is, what does the guy want? What does the guy want? For the guy to give you this debit alert, you need to give him what he wants. To some, it is the satisfaction. To some others, it is the pride, right? So part of your job at the sales level, at the conversational level leading towards the closing, you need to find out what the guy wants. Else, you will not be able to sell. In fact, it is what this guy wants that determines how fast or how slow the transaction closes. So the quicker you are able to figure out what he wants, the quicker he's able to make the debit alert. And this is the foundational conversation around the behavior or the psychology around sales or selling. So let me read what I have here. You must understand that it is not the natural behavior of the average person to buy or to buy fast. Because every purchase is a debit alert. And most of us don't like debit alert. We like for the money to keep piling up, increasing. Even me, I like for the money to be increasing and not reducing, right? And then the foundation of selling anything fast is rooted in psychographic. So let's go there now. For those of us that don't know how to spell psychology, the spelling of psychology has been a problem for me since back in the days, right? So psychography is another. So psychography. Psychography is spelled Psychography, right? Normally I would have said, psychography. All right, so let's go. I hope you're following me, and let me know if this is making sense to you. So what is psychography or psychographics, right? Just two words and same word and different expressions. Now, psychography is the psychology behind why people buy. Psychography is the psychology behind why people buy. In other words, in summary, why does he want to buy the property? You see, this conversation right here, it is critical to how you are able to deal with objections. And I've taught that to you on so many platforms, especially for those who have enrolled taking our courses at the Fortune Real Estate Academy. Or if you have my books, you at some point figured how I taught extensively on this conversation. Because the formula or the tool or weapon that you use to be able to deal with every objection, usually, most of the times, will have to come from the person, and it is rooted in psychography. Now, there are elements of psychography that we have to look at. Before we look at the element of psychography, there's a second brother of psychography that sort of behaves like it, and it also helps in sales, right? And that is demography. All right. Demography speaks to the person. Who is this person? Right? Who is this person? Who is this person? Right? This can be a conversation of the fact that he is a banker, or he's an oil worker, or he lives in the diaspora, or he's a politician. Who is this person? Now, most of the times, the person's demography determines how or why he buys, right? You can as well look at it from the perspective of who is this person in terms of for example, is it 30 to 35? All of these are critical elements that determine whether you are going to close fast or not. Because if you don't figure them out quickly, you will not be speaking to who they are and what they want to hear. Every buyer has something that he or she wants to hear for that purchase to happen. I can go somewhere right now and say, oh, I want to buy a phone. And the guy brings out this phone. And to me, I don't like big phones. I like small phones. When the guy brings out this phone, he's not speaking my language. He has to be able to know something to trigger me to buy and not just buy fast. So let's quickly go back to the conversation around psychography. I'll give you the elements. Remember, this is just our introductory class. We've not started. We're just introducing the conversation for November class, December class, and then we'll do a December class for those who have paid for the Abuja Real Estate Retreat. Now, elements of psychography. Number one, interest and motivation. Remember, psychography is a conversation around why people buy. So in putting together the key factors as relates to why people buy, number one is interest. Number two is their values. Number three is lifestyle. Number four is their personality. Right? Interest and motivations. Number five talks about fears. Number six, pain points. Number seven, which is the last, is mindset. Mindset. Now, these are the elements that determine or that give you an idea of psychography and how you are able to figure out why they buy is through conversations. Rooted in that conversation in a very subtle manner are pre-qualifiers. This is why all of this is an art. A-R-T. Now, when you are able to do this, you can be gisting and laughing and just communicating casually with the client, but you are already hitting pre-qualifiers. You are already pre-qualifying the client such that at the end of the day, both of you may have just had a conversation around church, politics, or a few things in between, but you have gotten your pre-qualifier in a way that helps you to know their interest, their values, their lifestyle, their personality, their fears, their pain point, their mindset. And then it tells you what to tell them so that they are able to buy. Not just buy, but so that they're able to buy fast. So let me read what I have here. This is why psychographics matter in sales, all right? Especially for those of us who are into real estate. Psychographics help you to know how your buyer thinks. What message will resonate with them? What objections they will raise? What will convince them to buy or trigger them to buy? How fast or slow they will make a buying decision? What fears you need to neutralize? This is very important. Please keep letting me know in the comment section that you're following me, right? Virtually every buyer comes with fear, but part of your job is to neutralize as well as be able to give assurance. Without that assurance, there will be a doubt hanging somewhere. The guy may even ask you for account details, ask you for the form, but there is that doubt right there that is just still hanging that will make this guy stall to the point where the sale may never happen. And the last is what aspirations you need to speak to. Aspirations as relates to the picture you need to paint. Because when you've had the conversation, it helps you to know that, okay, this guy likes this certain kind of lifestyle. And then your property, you already know, okay, this is the type of property that I need to present to this kind of person because he likes to live the life. And at that point in time, when you are speaking the language of that property, it is connecting to his aspirations, his thought process, and the picture that he has in his mind. So let's now quickly run to the part where we look at the conversation of touch points. haven't dealt with the conversation around qualifiers or pre-qualifiers. We've not touched pre-qualifiers, we would, right? During our closing conversation, during when we're having the practical sales call session, right? Haven't touched the issue of psychography and those general foundations. Touch points are now the real thing, the real deal that leads to the closing in a very fast manner. And there are 11 of them, 11 TPs. There are 11 of them, and that is what we will start with in our December class. First week of December, that is where we are going to start that. And I please beg you, be in that class. Be in that class. Be in that class. This class alone, right? This class, in fact, this foundation, I know the depth and the importance of this class. This exposition I just gave. This to me is worth more than 30,000 naira. But with the 30,000 naira, you already have this class. You have access to the December class. You also have access to the January class. And then you also still have access to day one of Abuja Real Estate Retreat with 30,000 naira. With 200,000 naira, you have access to this class, December class, January class, day one class, and day two class of the Abuja Real Estate Retreat. So that's practically having access to excess value for as low as 30,000 naira. Right on the screen right now will be displayed our flyer for day one and day two of the Abuja Real Estate Retreat. And of course, like I mentioned, for our December class, which is a few weeks, days from now, we're going to be concluding the entire conversation around understanding touch points. We've touched on psychography, right? We're going to look at why most salespeople struggle to close, the 11 touch points that make this close fast once the person is capable. We're going to look at the practical session on sales calls. We're also going to be looking at practical session on how to close. So if you're interested in securing a ticket for yourself with the Abuja Real Estate Retreat, please do so right now. And in fact, there's a bonus as well. So if you are paying between now and the end of November, you also have free access to a basic real estate basic real estate course. While if you're going for the 200k offer, you also have free access to a 7-figure marketing and sales course. So all of that this is excess value, and that is what we guarantee at Fortune Real Estate Academy. If you're interested in being in the room, and of course being in our pre-retreat masterclasses, this is your opportunity. My name is Raymond Ijoma, and I'm the global lead facilitator of the Fortune Real Estate Academy. I look forward to seeing you, not just for the pre-retreat masterclasses, but also at the Abuja Real Estate Retreat 2026. That is where we are building multi-billion empires. Let me know how valuable this class was for you, and I'll see you on the next one.